Welcome to part 3. She straightened slowly, eyes sweeping the room. Did I drop something? She whispered to herself. On her way back through the hallway, she noticed the sideboard for the first time, the one beneath the large landscape painting. The crystal bowl on top glinted in the light. An odd urge pushed at her. She took a step closer. A voice cut through the air. Lily. She jumped. Claire stood at the top of the stairs, arms crossed. Could you bring up some tea? And make sure Dad's evening pills are set out. Yes, of course, Lily said, stepping back from the sideboard. By the time she'd brewed the tea, arranged the tray, and climbed the stairs, the moment had evaporated. The next day, the house was louder. Alexander had invited 2 friends over to walk the grounds. They moved through the garden with easy laughter, discussing potential venues for summer parties, how the terrace could be redesigned for event hosting, and whether the oak tree was worth keeping or just sentimental clutter. From the upstairs window, Edward watched them with a quiet, simmering rage. Behind him, Lily was changing the bed linens. She glanced out once and made a face. They do realize you're not dead yet, right? She muttered, then flushed. Sorry. That was honest, Edward said again. She hesitated. You don't mind them talking like that? Oh, I mind, he said. But sometimes it's useful to let people speak freely. You learn more that way. She studied him. And what have you learned? He looked back out the window. That my children are very good at planning a future that doesn't include me. There was a beat of silence. Lily swallowed. For what it's worth, I don't care what you're worth, sir. I care whether the man taking these tablets is okay. He turned back to face her, his gaze lingering on her tired eyes, the faint smudge of worry between her brows. The envelope felt like a weight in the room, even though it was hidden away. He still meant for it to be hers. The test might be ruthless, but his intention toward her wasn't. He needed to find it. Soon. Later that afternoon, Lily took the bus home, clutching her worn handbag against her chest. Rain blurred the city lights outside as the bus pulled away from the stop. Her thoughts kept circling back to the house. To the way Alexander had joked with his friends about finally having access to certain assets. To the way Claire had barked at a contractor over the phone about getting quotes before the will goes through. And to that nagging feeling in the kitchen. The almost memory of an envelope sliding from the table. By the time she reached her stop, she'd convinced herself she was imagining it. Just stress. Just her mind reaching for miracles where there were none. She stepped off the bus and froze. On the pavement near the curb lay a paper envelope, damp at the edges from a passing car spray, the ink on the front slightly blurred. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She hurried over, bending to pick it up, hands shaking. It was blank. No name, no writing. Just an advertisement flyer folded into an envelope shape, soaked through. She let out a shaky laugh, half relief, half disappointment. Get a grip, Lily, she muttered, straightening. You're not the main character in a movie. But as she walked the short distance home, her chest ached with a strange hollow ache. She didn't know that at that very same moment in Edward's sitting room, the housekeeper was rearranging the sideboard again, lifting the crystal bowl, straightening the stack of papers, and pushing the pale envelope a little further back, where shadows would swallow its edges. Agonizingly close. Both to Lily, and to being lost forever. That night, as Lily lay awake listening to her mother's soft breathing in the next room, she found herself whispering a prayer she hadn't prayed in years. Please, just one break. One thing that doesn't slip through my fingers. Across the city, Edward sat alone in the dim light of his study, staring at the sideboard. His children had spent the evening in the dining room, laughing with friends over a catered meal, drinking wine and toasting to new beginnings. He had listened from the next room, every laugh like sandpaper against his nerves. Justice demanded that they be exposed. But somewhere between the clink of their glasses and the silence of his own heartbeat, another thought had taken root. At what point does a test stop being a lesson, and become cruelty? And in that quiet, both he and Lily lay in separate bedrooms, each haunted by a missing thing they couldn't name. For him, a letter. For her, a chance. The morning it all snapped began quietly. Edward woke to a dull ache in his bones, not from illness, but from the crushing emotional weight of the past weeks. The house felt colder, even under the glow of the winter sun leaking through the curtains. Alexander and Claire had already arrived, stomping through the rooms with decorators and financial advisors, each one armed with plans for the post-transition phase. Transition. They couldn't even say, after you die. Edward sat at the breakfast table, hands wrapped around a mug he hadn't touched. His children's voices echoed from the living room, excited, ruthless, alive in a way they never were around him. "We can push the sale of the countryside estate within the month," Claire said. "We shouldn't wait for probate." Edward flinched. He'd expected greed, but the joy in their voices, that he hadn't imagined. Then Lily entered, hair slightly damp from the morning drizzle, breath visible in the chill, cheeks flushed from rushing up the hill to the house. She carried the same thermos she brought every morning, tea with honey and ginger. Her mother used to make it for her, she'd said. Now she made it for one more person besides herself. "Good morning," she greeted softly, placing the thermos on the table. "You didn't sleep much, did you?" He shook his head. "No. It happens," she murmured. "Grief isn't just about losing someone. Sometimes it's about losing parts of people who are still here." Her words cut deeper than she knew. Before he could answer, Claire's voice pierced the room. "Lily. We need you to help us sort Dad's medical documents." Lily stiffened. "Everything is already sorted. And I'm not giving you access to anything without Mr. Hale's consent." Claire rolled her eyes. "Oh, spare me your self-righteousness. You're a part-time caregiver, not his guardian." Alexander appeared beside her, holding a clipboard. "Dad needs to appoint us durable power of attorney. Now. Before his decline accelerates." Lily's breath hitched. She turned to Edward. "Is this what you want?" His chest tightened. The test was working too well. The cruelty of the moment sliced sharper than he'd expected. He was supposed to remain neutral, observing, detached. But when he saw the tremor in Lily's hands, the exhaustion in her eyes, the quiet fear at the thought of him being manipulated, something in him cracked. "Enough," Edward said. Both children froze. "I'm not signing anything," he said. "And if either of you speaks to Lily that way again, you will leave my house." Their shock was immediate, and telling. "Dad, Claire tried, she's interfering. She is the only person in this house who hasn't made me feel like a dying investment," Edward snapped. Claire paled. Alexander bristled. "We're trying to protect you. You're trying to strip my home for parts while I'm still living in it." The silence that followed was suffocating. Lily stood still, caught between gratitude and worry. Moments later, Alexander and Claire stormed out of the room, arguing in low, furious whispers. Thank you for watching. Comment part 4 if you enjoy this story. Subscribe and turn on your notification bell.